You know how you get to study something for 35 years? Don't die. Yeah. Okay, Davey asked me before the speech, says, so how much time does it take you to prepare for one of these? And I said, it varies. Some speeches take a few hours and some take a lifetime. But this is a lifetime speech because this is accumulated knowledge, lots and lots of research, tons and tons of reading. Because what we're going to talk about today is ancestral knowledge, ancestral, ancient. So the recommended talk title is Remember with the River Dolphins. So you probably don't know this, but it's a very interesting idea. An ocean dolphin will swim up a river and stay there for a while. And everybody wonders why. I mean, the water is brackish, if it's confining, it's not the open ocean. Why does the ocean dolphin do that? You have a theory? I do. My theory is that that's probably where the ocean dolphin started out and wants to revisit the original ideas, the original thoughts, the original feelings that it had as it was developing. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at we're going to take a look at New Thought philosophy by going back in time. We're going to let you know, in most science of mind centers, they have said for years that this is New Thought philosophy, ancient wisdom. But nobody ever looks at the ancient wisdom part, except for today. Today, we're going to look at the ancient wisdom part. So, I'm going to go on a mythical romp through the minds and hearts of ancient writers. And these ideas probably preceded writing. So who knows where these ideas started out, but they've been written down since the beginning of time for as long as humans have written. So they're not the product of religion. In fact, if you really want to look at it carefully, you'll realize that religions are the product of ideas, not the other way around. And in fact, if you look at the progression of something, probably what happens is people get a bunch of ideas and they kind of fit them together into something cohesive. We would call that a philosophy. And then if enough people glom onto it, it becomes a religion. Okay. Now we're here at Science of Mind today calling it Science of Mind, but in reality, for me, it's New Thought philosophy. And New Thought philosophy ideas have been prevalent throughout the history of humankind. So, these New Thoughts ideas, I believe, spring up automatically from our experience of life. That when you begin to examine how you exist on this planet, on this plane, sooner or later, you're led to these beliefs. And as the mystic writer Meister Eckhart said, know that by nature, every creature seeks to become like God. Whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, secretly, nature seeks, hunts, tries to ferret out the track upon which God may be found. So that's built in. We're going to seek to ferret out the track upon which God may be found. So, when humans form a group to promote a set of cosmological and moral ideas, which is what we're doing here, except we don't have too much in the way of moral ideas, but a lot of cosmological ones and a lot of psychological ones. They seem to spring into existence, these ideas, almost magically. They pop up. They might start from a sculpture, a poem, an idea. In these old comic books, they always have that little white box over the person's head, and there was the idea. I think that's exactly how it happens. I have a little white box up here, and occasionally ideas just go Oh, by the way, okay. So today I'm going back to the earliest expressions of writings by philosophers, mystics, and poets, which obviously state a new thought foundational premise or conclusion. Well, the earliest I personally could find. And you'll see that these ideas come from all over the world and from many different cultures and times. And because I'm claiming that these old ideas are found in our New Thought statements, I think I should briefly go through the foundational elements of New Thought. Okay, so number one is oneness, unity. Spirit is the source of everything. There is only one spirit. That's all there is. God or spirit is the only power there is. There is no opposing power of any kind. Spirit is all knowing, all loving, infinite, and eternal, and you're one with it. Two, unification, right? It follows that each of us is a part of spirit. We are the direct expression of spirit as itself. We're spiritual beings, and God's nature is our nature. Spirit is love, peace, beauty, power, life, and light and joy, and that's what we are at our core. The third important idea is embodiment. We experience this true spiritual nature to the degree that we become conscious of it and embody it. I love the word embody. When you get something deeply down into yourself, you've embodied it. Truth and wisdom come to us directly as we discover and embody our own true nature. So the more you become in alignment with who and what you really are at your center, wisdom flows to you. The truth flows to you. Four, the design of experience. And this is spiritual psychology, right? Our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, in other words, our consciousness designs our experience of life. And by changing our consciousness, therefore, we're able to change our lives. Change your thinking, change your life, change your consciousness, change what's going on in your life. So we use free will and the power of choice to change our consciousness. And then the fifth is manifestation into form. Our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs input in a very mysterious and wonderful and magical way into something which we call subjective mind. And when it inputs, it creates automatically. That's why it's called subjective, because the law is actually subjective to your thoughts. It's going to do what you think into it. So think good. Don't think dumb. Yeah, no dumb thing. So that's called subjective mind, and it makes us fully free to express our lives. We have freedom and we have responsibility, and it's all because the power of love. That is the power of love. To be totally free to be your exact self. That's love in action. So, and this is my wife's brilliant metaphor for subjective law. At the center of things is a vast golden yes, yes, yes machine, right? That's at the center of things. It's going to say yes to you. So whatever it is you want and love and desire, you feed it into this machine called subjective law. So now with these ideas in our minds, can you keep all those ideas in your mind? I'm going to go back through history. I'm going to start with the oldest and go forward, actually. And as I read these to you, I would like you to think, can I read into this the ideas of science of mind? Can I see the idea, feel the idea? So here's Akhenaten, 1400 BCE, which makes that, what, a lot of years ago. I was going to try to add it up at night. I think it's 30 some odd, 3,400 years ago. This Egyptian pharaoh knew some really good things. Thou dost fashion the beauty of form through thyself alone, for thou art the Lord of the day at its zenith, and thou art in my heart. Okay. So what does it say? It says, he actually says that everything comes from God itself, that God rests in our hearts, and that God is benevolent and provides everything. For the science of mind ideas from 3,400 years ago. The first man actually identified as a philosopher was named Thales. He was a Greek. And that's a long, long time ago, too. I had it written down with the actual, oh, yeah, 640 to 546 BCE. That's a lot of years ago, too, huh? And he had this new thought view of God. He said, God is that which hath neither beginning nor end. Of all things, the oldest is God. All things are full of God. The mind of the universe is God. Science mind? Absolutely. So the very first philosopher in recorded history said that the mind of the universe is God and all things are full of God. So he was the second New Thought philosopher. He was the second science of mind guy. Now, our group of Greek philosophers, one group of Greek philosophers were called the solipsists, and they existed about 480 BCE, although there may be some solipsists still around in the world, we don't know. They believed that you could not know anything except through your mind. Your own experience and everything else in the universe, in the world, in the external world, is a creation of your imagination. Now go ahead and try to prove that isn't true. The only tools you have to prove that isn't true is the use of your mind. So in some way that rings both true and not true in my own heart, I know, I'm imagining this. I believe, as science minders do, that my consciousness creates my experience. So in a sense, I'm imagining this. My imagination will create my experience. It doesn't create yours. You can be thankful for that. So how about this one? This is Aristotle from 384 to 322 BCE. Thought and its object being here identical, God's essential actuality is thus life at its very best, and this state persists forever. Is that science of mind? Thought and its object being identical, the thought and the thing are one. That's a science of mind basic. The thought and the thing are one. And this is forever, the eternality of spirit. Okay, this is from a mere 2,000 years ago. It says, he is all mind, he is being infinite, all that we see and all that we do not see. That's Lucius Annius Seneca from 4 BCE to 65 CE. So he kind of overlapped Jesus Christ. He was a philosopher, a statesman, a dramatist. And this one is my favorite. All things come from one source, from that ruling reason of the universe, either under a primary impulse from it or by way of consequence, and therefore the gate of the lion's jaws and poison and all noxious things, such as thorns and mire, are but the results of the grand and the beautiful. Look not then on these as alien to that which thou dost reverence, but turn thy thought to the one source of all things. You hear science of mind in that? One source of all things. Everything is God. Everything. Whether you like it or not, everything is God. In fact, probably if I don't like something, I should pay special attention to it to see why I don't like it and maybe think differently about it. So that was Marcus Aurelius, who said that in 121 to 180 of the Common Era, post-Christianity. And I'll give you a hint. This was not written by a modern New Thought person such as Quimby or Baker Eddy. This came from 1900 years ago from a Stoic philosopher and ruler of ancient Rome. And in that quote, there are at least 5 ideas that are common to New Thought philosophy. And this is a really good one. This is Virgil, the famous Roman poet. It says, one life through all immense creation runs. One spirit is the moons, the seas, the suns, all forms in the air that fly, on the earth that creep, and unknown nameless monsters of the deep, each breathing thing obeys one mind's control. And in all substance is a single soul. Huh? Those Roman poets, they knew stuff. Huh? Anyway, I would say Virgil is a new thought philosopher, wouldn't you? Yes. I love that. And in all substance, a single soul. That when we're talking about oneness, is that a great line for it? Talk about oneness. In all substance, a single soul. So he was he was Rome's greatest poet and definitely a New Thought predecessor. And I'm going to end with this one. Every one of us may call himself a son of God, just as our bodies are linked to the material universe, subject while we live to the same forces, resolved when we go into the same elements. So by virtue of reason, our souls are linked to and continuous with God, being in reality parts and offshoots of God. There is no movement of which he is not conscious, because we and he are part of one birth and growth. There is no movement of which he is, I'm sorry, all hearts are open, all desires known. As we walk or talk or eat, he himself is within us, so that we are his shrines, living temples, and incarnations of God. That's Epictetus, who lived in the first century. Okay, did I prove to you that these are old ideas?
Yeah.
I did, yeah. And I guess the best way to put this is to say, everywhere I looked, I found the truth. And if you do that, you say to yourself, I'm looking for the truth. I'm going to find it. You will. You will. Always and ever. Anyway, thank you very, very much for listening.